Yeehaw! Welcome to ASP Stuff Radio, the internet radio show that talks about Trump in America, and guns. Yeehaw! America has spoken and the Lord has answered our prayers. I'm your evangelical host, filled with the Holy Spirit's Billy Bob. Joining me today on November 10th to partake in this wonderful victory is Bobby Steve Joe, an expert in lawnmower mechanics, and Billy Paul Ray, a welder who welds things that need welding, like our damn divided country. Woohoo! Trump won! Woohoo!
Oh yeah, hello there. How you doing?
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
How you doing?
Yeehaw.
Billy Ball.
Oh. So, when we gonna start up and shoot 'em up in that school zone we got there?
Oh, we're gonna do it as soon as Trump says it's okay to do it.
He
No,
said
we're
that
doing it
about
right now.
No, he said we gotta wait. We gotta wait a little
I
little
want to
bit.
do it right now.
Right now.
Right
Round him
now.
up.
Oh wow! I just felt my toe.
I just have two words to say about this election. We're gonna make America orange again.
What?
We're gonna make America orange.
That makes me hungry for some orange chicken.
Woo.
I like that orange chicken.
It's
But
good
you know it's from them Chinese. You know.
and I've got to get those oranges bred in our own country.
They've
our
been
soil.
making our chicken, and I don't really agree with that. We need to deport them.
Yeah,
With some orange soda.
Yeehaw, I like orange. Is shush. Okay.
No. Wonder how the real people keep that up.
I don't know.
Those are the voters right there. That's America speaking up.
That is the majority of our, quote, poorly educated public.
And they came out in droves.
According to Trump, he says poorly educated. He caters to the poorly educated.
He said that?
Yeah.
I'm sure he did.
He said it.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
It is
Completely true. Because
But
if you think about it, most people who are having issues with this, they tend to be more on the more intelligent side.
Yeah.
If you see common ground amongst people complaining.
It's I looked up some psychological studies and I asked myself, is there a correlation between intelligence, religious affiliation, and political affiliation? And I found just two things. Here's one study. It states higher intelligence is associated with liberal political ideology and atheism. More intelligent people are statistically more likely to exhibit social values and religious and political preferences that are novel to human evolution. And then another study, it shows that lower cognitive ability predicts greater prejudice, an effect mediated through the endorsement of right-wing ideologies such as social conservatism, right-wing authoritarianism, and low levels of contact with out-groups. We found that lower general intelligence in childhood predicts greater racism in adulthood, and this effect was largely mediated via conservative ideology. A secondary analysis confirmed a predictive effect of poor abstract reasoning skills on anti-homosexual prejudice, a relation partially mediated by both authoritarianism and low levels of inter-group contact. All analyses controlled for education and socioeconomic status. Results suggest that cognitive abilities play a critical role in prejudice. Basically, there is a correlation between low intelligence and who you're going to vote for.
So as a highly intelligent voter or listener, so what is this study based on? How many people were or what was the statistical or scientific basis of it?
Well, I was trying to find out
What was the source?
the
Yeah,
census
where was it done?
the census data.
See? You
All I
see?
could find the census data of and this is in 2015, of the 209.3 million people in the United States that are 25 years old or older, 68% of them do not have a bachelor's degree.
That's
Now,
the basis of intelligence.
but we have to understand that even if you are educated, that doesn't really tell you much. Okay?
True, it's part of it.
You can
That's
have
part of the story.
You can
right?
have a PhD and still vote for Trump, and you can be
Like Ben Carson.
or you could be completely uneducated and vote for Clinton.
And why? So why is that? What's the root cause of that? Why do we think that dumber people are voting for Trump?
who would like
They
to.
don't know any better. They think they're doing the right thing, but they're not.
Now, to be objective here, I think a lot of people vote are uninformed when they vote. I would assume that most people vote based on 2 or 3 issues. So, for example, a blue-collar person in rural America is going to vote for Trump because he's anti-abortion. And that's it. And then you got the gay rights activists who vote solely based on that, and they go side with, say, Clinton or the Democrats. And that's it. That's it.
They pick one issue and they vote based on the one issue. Huh?
That's what I think.
Well, and I can maybe draw a little bit better link. I think somebody like a rust belter. What is a rust belter? What does that mean? Does anybody know?
It's a belt that's rusty?
It could
My
be, but
belt's rusty. You need to pour some vinegar on it and get it all de-rusted.
I guess a rust belter is somebody who lost their job in a manufacturing industry like the coal industry or the mining industry.
Or the auto making industry.
Or the automotive industry.
Pennsylvania, Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
swing states.
Yeah. And why did they lose their job? Well, it was
Because of Obama.
Obama and other Republicans, too, in the past.
No,
been-
just Obama.
could have been.
Well, yeah,
Obama,
that's what the rust belt is.
I think it was an illegal immigrant that took my job. That's what I think. And we need to get them out because they're stealing my job.
Why did Donald Trump win? We'll go start with Paolato or Steve-Ocrates, and you give us your take. What happened? You woke up in the morning, and then you discover that Trump won.
Well, I stayed up.
You stayed up? I couldn't.
Yeah, it was a depressing night. It was hard to sleep.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep, not knowing, but it did seem grim when the guy came out and he said, "Everyone go home."
Yeah, it was over.
That's when I
before
went to
that.
bed. Yeah, I'm like, oh, forget it. I'm not gonna wait.
My thought is, we have the electoral college system, and in order to win the election, you have to play the game the right way. And I think Trump's appeal was to those Rust Belt states and all these other smaller states, so they have smaller value in the electoral college. But he was going to win those a lot more easily than Hillary Clinton. And so Clinton had to win the big states and the swing states, but she couldn't win those because of the things that we talked about. Probably more of the metropolitan areas obviously went to Clinton, but all the rural areas where they had those jobs, those types of jobs, they wanted Trump. So the electoral college system was really the reason he was able to win. I mean, he's not going to win the popular vote. So anybody who says that America spoke up, that's not right. That's not accurate. Actually, most Americans want Clinton to be the president.
Yeah,
And by far, most Americans don't want Trump because they voted for the other candidates too. So he clearly wasn't the majority here. Most Americans did not want Trump. And so he played the game. He played the game the right way. He figured out how to do it. He's one of the few presidents to win an election without getting the popular vote.
Yeah.
The last one being George W.
Yeah.
And there were a couple in the late 1800s who weren't very good presidents, and then one back in the late 1700s. So it's not a good sign when you win the election without winning the popular vote. Historically, those presidents don't tend to do well.
So it was just Bush. Can you think of another one?
Well, I think it was Harrison back in the late 1800s, and then
So this is we're going way back.
it's only happened 5
So
times.
it's a rare phenomenon that this happens.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
when it does happen, it usually doesn't result in a very good president.
But this is just insane because of the repercussions, the protests and the hatred. There were posts on Facebook where, I don't know if there were college students being confronted by racists calling people names and saying they're justified because now that Trump's president, you have a right to call you the N-word or rip off your hijab or tell you to get out of this country. And they feel justified because, well, Trump supports it and he condones it, or he at least...
Yeah, I think already, San Diego State, a Muslim student her car was stolen by a couple of Trump supporters who felt like they have the right to do that now that Trump is president.
And that's the
They pretty much said, when Trump's president, you're going to be kicked out of the country.
Yeah, you should.
It's already happening.
People look at Trump with the high esteem, and they just feel justified in doing whatever they feel like.
Well, I think the reason he won is because the the white man was angry, and they came out. Like I said, they came out in droves. That red interior of every state in the union there, they came out, and I think that Clinton could have gotten more votes, but she didn't motivate enough of the swing voters. Her strategy was a little bit more difficult because she had to just win all of the big metropolitan cities, and she wasn't able to do enough of that. And she really didn't visit any of the swing states. I think she didn't visit even Wisconsin at all during her campaign. And she didn't. I think some of the other states she didn't. She visited way back in April. So, and it was just she was just a status quo candidate, and really America was ready for change. And maybe she wasn't the right candidate for the Democrats. Oh, and then the other thing is third party people like Aleppo split the liberal vote, so that
has a huge impact on an election like this, where the winner doesn't get the popular vote.
Yeah, so this lesser of two evils might be the way to go.
Oh, that's the other animosity that I'm seeing throughout social media. They're blaming people like me and everyone else who voted for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson. The reason why Trump won is because of us.
Well, Paulato pointed it out. I mean, you have to look at those things, you know?
No, I'll tell you. Trump won because he grabbed the majority of the white middle class man by the balls, by the scrotum. Those that work in agriculture, manufacturing, blue-collar jobs. Somehow Trump skillfully appealed to that demographic. He was their savior. And of course, Trump's victory has a lot to do with racism, homophobia, xenophobia, sexism, misogyny, and religion. For decades, you have to think back, way back, rural America had steady jobs, worked in factories, manufacturing, agriculture, building and welding things, and then over time, those jobs have been shipped overseas. Unions, like you said, have been destroyed by both Republicans and Democrats. They endorsed trade deals that led to job loss and allowed corporations to ship those jobs overseas. So when a typical politician like Clinton, that has tons of political baggage, comes into the forefront and regurgitates the same monotonous talking points, rural America ain't gonna bend. And here comes Trump, a billionaire businessman out of nowhere, talks directly to these people and tells them like it is. No prepared speech, off the cuff, doesn't sound like a generic, inauthentic politician, and he says exactly what he wants.
That's what Paulocrates there was saying. He played the game right.
Yeah.
But he didn't know he was doing it. I guarantee he didn't realize what he was doing.
What do you mean he didn't know? Of course he did.
I don't know. I don't give him enough credit.
Trump says
he can't.
Whatever he wants
read,
to say.
Right?
He's not prepared with his speech. He doesn't have a teleprompter, but he knows how to play with the working class mind.
You're making him sound smarter than he really is. All he did was he lied through his teeth.
Well, I think the thing that everybody, including Trump, were not expecting was that a lot of these people that you mentioned, Albert, that they would actually go out and register to vote. And for some reason, he motivated people like our mother to actually register and vote when they normally don't. They normally don't care to vote for someone like Mitt Romney, who's just an elitist politician. They wanted somebody who was completely different, inexperienced. As long as he aligned with their political or religious ideals, they wanted to vote for him.
Yeah,
that's it. And then on top of that, there's probably a motivating factor that they did not want and never do want to see a woman lead this country. That also plays a factor.
Yeah, so all he did was he told all of those ignorant people what they wanted to hear. He lied as much as he could to tell them what they wanted to hear. And they believe it. I kept saying, believe me.
But Clinton sucked. She was a horrible candidate. How could she connect with these people with working white middle class?
She was
what-
the status quo. I don't know if she was sucked, but she
this is what I was
didn't
gonna
stand
say.
out enough, and she was a woman, so that was another obstacle to overcome.
Samantha B, the full frontal clip that I texted you guys, that goes back into history of where Hillary Rodham was actually a revolutionary decades ago, and then because I think her demise kind of started out a while back. So when she used to be interesting and I guess changing things within the country or within her office, that slowly changed because of the things that Spock's nephew was asking. Oh, why don't you change your name to better suit so your husband can win and get more votes? So she had to slowly become more boring and status quo over time.
She had to look like a politician's wife.
The white man made her do that because he absolutely did not want to lose to a woman.
Now, when I said Clinton sucked, I meant that she became that type of politician, that typical personality of a politician, regurgitating those talking points.
But also her campaign was flawed in that she really got lazy. She assumed she was gonna win. You didn't hear about her. She didn't confront. She wouldn't answer questions from reporters for the longest time. I don't think she ever did. And she never visited the areas she should have visited. She really took it for granted.
Yeah, she didn't play the strategy right.
And whereas Trump was working his balls off, right?
That's bad imagery. Thanks for that.
Well, you said you already had imagery.
Grabbing.
Hold on, I think an undisclosed or unidentified person has another point of view.
Okay.
I think one thing you guys, like, maybe from your perspective, you don't get this, but a lot of people are taking for granted what the longer lasting repercussions of Hillary's campaign. Like, you can say she ran a bad campaign, but I think she did something that is going to have a very long lasting effect. And it might be 18, 20 years before that effect really shows. But a lot of women, especially in that last debate, when you really saw her get passionate about women's rights, like, that was a pretty powerful moment where you saw her really lose some of her scripted political agenda and really kind of speak from her heart and her emotions. And that motivated a lot of women who maybe don't vote or vote according to their husbands or their families and things like that. It motivated them to want to vote for her, and being the anti-Trump and going against a lot of his spiels against women and those types of things. They're raising these are a lot of, like, young mothers, myself included, who now are angry that this is the country that they're going to raise their kids in. And so they're going to be raising these kids with the idea that they want to see a woman become president, that they want to see that change happen. And it may take a long time for that to happen, but I think that will be one effect that her campaign had.
Yeah.
It will definitely make more people passionate.
No, and it's unfortunate because I did see that side of her in her last debate, and you did see that in her what's the last speech when she was defeated. She had to make her concession speech.
Concession.
She showed emotion and passion, a genuine.
Yeah, she probably should have shown a little bit more of that in Florida, in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. That would have been that would put her over the top.
And I don't know why she couldn't shed away that facade. I don't know.
But I do think this will, it slows down the progress of the country.
Mm-hmm.
We may not see a woman candidate for a very long time. Even if the Democrats want to, they're going to see this loss as a negative and have issue. They'll be less compelled to want to put a woman as a nominee, knowing that it's so hard for people, especially people who view religion as their number one priority, to want to vote for a woman.
All right, I'm going to be Mr. Objective here now. Now, I get that it would be nice. I would love to have a female president. That's why I voted for Jill Stein, because she didn't have all that controversy, the political baggage, and the other stuff, the hit list, like it's associated with the Clinton administration.
Plus, all our views aligned with her.
Yeah. And what annoys me is that people like Stephen Colbert, he went on a rant against Trump. I don't know if you saw the episode yesterday or last night, but it's not just him. It's everyone across the media, it seems. So I'm asking myself, okay, but would Clinton have been any better? Now, we have to keep in mind that the Republican and Democratic Party are nothing more than two wings of the same beast. And that beast's brain consists of the ruling party, the oligarchy, most likely bankers of some kind. You're not really going to get change. In any case, Clinton wasn't a great candidate. I mean, you have to keep in mind, remember the WikiLeaks, 20,000 emails reveal that the primary was rigged. And during the primaries, the Clinton campaign was in cahoots with the DNC for working against Sanders and his campaign to ensure Clinton would receive the nomination. And then,
although that was a result of tampering by Russian hackers, which may or may not have been helped on by Trump.
Yeah, who knows?
There's a whole other issue which needs more investigation.
And the other thing, if you elected Clinton, there's a most good chance that we're going to see more war. Clinton was in favor of perpetuating the Syrian war. She helped create ISIS by voting for the Iraq invasion.
That whole Iraq thing I throw out the window because back then everybody supported that.
Except Trump.
Everybody
except Trump.
No,
well,
Trump
wasn't
even
a
has
politician.
made statements about it that he did support it early on.
No, I know.
On Howard Stern or whatever.
He contradicted himself. He said
but it
doesn't matter because he wasn't a politician, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. But so remember when, I don't know if you remember when Clinton was proud of the overthrow and murder of what was that guy's name? Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, when she joked around and she said, "We came, we saw, he died."
Mm-hmm.
We came, we saw, he died.
What is that? That's not diplomatic.
But so I think to your point is,
there's more.
Whoever you put in as a president is a puppet.
Yeah, there's that. But
Trump said he's not a puppet.
Trump is not. He's not He has no military experience. He has no political experience. He has no clue about how to endorse a policy to make a whole country great.
It was definitely an accident that he got elected, and there was no conspiracy that.
It was no accident. He was able to speak to.
What I mean is, it was off the script. The oligarchy didn't expect it.
I don't know. I think the oligarchy put him there because they have an agenda to serve.
The oligarchy put him there because they wanted Clinton to win.
I don't know.
Right? That was what the conspiracy theorists were saying.
I thought that was the conspiracy.
Right?
But maybe that's what they want us to think.
It was supposed to be rigged against Trump.
Maybe they want us to think that.
I think you're thinking too hard.
Oh, that's problematic. Oh, God damn it, you're thinking too hard.
No.
Look, my point, going back to my point earlier, is that I'm tired of seeing people who say Trump's horrible president, therefore Clinton was going to be any better. But I guarantee she wouldn't have. I mean, you need to look at her history. Clinton financed and encouraged the Ukrainian civil war because she wanted to get back at Putin for not doing anything to destabilize the Middle East and to attack Iran. Even Putin said that Clinton has, quote, no soul. She would not hesitate to strike at Iran, the no-fly zone.
Yeah, well, I just think, what's the alternatives? They weren't going to go for Jill Stein. They're not going to go for somebody that's, I guess, is an actually good candidate. Why aren't there actually good candidates running? Like, for example, had Trump been not insulting to every minority group out there, if he had said good things, people would want to vote for somebody like that, who wanted to make change, but good change. Why don't these the Democrats see, a lot of people would have been for somebody who was speaking off the cuff, but was a little bit more
Bernie Sanders. No, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Maybe Bernie Sanders is as close as you'll ever get.
Yeah, I mean Howard Schultz might be a candidate in the future. We don't know.
George Clooney. I heard George Clooney was a
George Clooney.
Yeah.
Hey, he has a good shot now with Trump setting this precedent.
I think that good things are going to happen after 4 years when his term is over. I think this is going to pave the path for people like George Clooney.
But why would you think it would be over after only 4 years?
Yeah, he's probably going to get reelected.
I mean, it could be a snowball effect where he, I don't know, he motivates more of the interior because there's probably more out there, right? Probably more of these racists out there that are just going to come out
But they
bigger
don't have the
tropes.
name brand that Trump had.
Oh, you know, I just thought of Larry David. I think he would be a perfect candidate. He would support the Democratic Party or the Independent Party off the cuff. No script or teleprompter. He can grab that demographic by the scrotum.
No, I don't know. I mean, you could have put any one of those people, and they probably could have beaten Trump.
Larry the Cable Guy. There you go.
Yeah.
He would have been perfect.
There's another dark fact about Hillary Clinton for all those people who think Clinton was going to be a better choice. When she was a public defender in Arkansas, she was a lawyer. I don't know. Clinton defended and won the freedom of a guilty child rapist who raped a 12-year-old girl. And Clinton was accused
Was
of
that Trump?
Clinton. No. Oh, yeah.
The rapist.
Wait, is this Bill Clinton?
No, Hillary Clinton defended a rapist. Raped a 12-year-old girl, and Clinton was accused of lying in a court. That she says the little girl, quote, the little girl fantasized about older men. And I guess she was lying about that. So who's going to defend a racist or a rapist?
Okay, anyway, what was the point in having Hillary Clinton as the candidate? Because supposedly you're supposed to motivate women into voting. She'd be the first president, a woman president, right?
That's why people voted for her. That's the only reason why the majority of Clinton voters cast their vote, because they wanted a female president.
I would say it was more, at least from my perspective, it was more to continue what Obama has been doing. Continue those programs, those policies, keep that progress moving forward, don't disrupt it, so that we don't revert back to the George W. days. That was the main reason I think a lot of people voted for her. Not so much that she was a woman. Most people the fact that she was a woman caused people not to vote for her.
Even women? Or just
women like our mother? She didn't vote for Clinton. I don't think that was the determining factor. And I think that's why it wasn't enough.
But that doesn't motivate you. Staying on course, that doesn't motivate anybody. It was probably a good path that everybody was on, and that's why I voted for Clinton. I think that was I didn't have anything wrong with my life, I guess, but maybe that's selfish, I suppose. But I was fine with the way the
you are.
Okay,
isn't everyone who's casting a vote based on self-interest?
Not necessarily.
Everyone has their personal agendas, and that usually drives the way you're going to vote.
I think the economy was on the right path, and I think it takes time for it to recover. And I think that I think all these Rust Belters and all these interior Americans were thinking that their jobs were lost because these illegals took them away. It wasn't that. It was the industry was changing. The industry was becoming automated. Companies companies within America, they need cheaper labor. It's driven by supply and demand. What drives costs down. So you get labor from overseas, which is much cheaper than what you have here. So that they didn't lose their jobs to illegal immigrants. They lost because they just didn't have a skill. They were unskilled. They were uneducated.
But I thought that Trump made a point about that, and that's why he was going to guarantee and make sure that their jobs weren't outsourced. That was one of his part of his.
Yeah. So how do you do? You can't do. The companies are what drives the economy. The corporations build the economies. The small businesses build the economy. It's not the president. I mean, I guess you could enforce regulation to require companies to hire American workers.
Yeah,
right?
That's what he wants. He wants
that's the opposite of what the Republican views to further regulate business.
He doesn't. He wants to end regulation. He wants to end those trade deals.
The way you ensure these folks, these Rust Belters, get their jobs back is you enforce regulation on these corporations to say they have to hire American workers
and keep the jobs in America, which
I
don't think that's going to change.
It's going to drive prices high. It's going to make things more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you stop free trade. You regulate more. That's the opposite of Republicans. But now you have all these. See, what's funny is you have all these conservatives or establishment folks that now they're going to be running to Trump's side. They're going to be his best friend now. They always thought that Trump was bad for the Republican Party, but guess what? He really wasn't. Now they're all going to be his best buddies, his cigar partners.
Probably. I mean, depending on what he's trying to push. Like, you're definitely going to see healthcare reform repealed. That's a major stumbling block and major reason that you don't want to revert back.
So there's going to be 20 million Americans that had pre-existing conditions that will not have health care after you do that.
Yeah. That's one aspect of it, right?
The Obamacare is just a big mess, though. I mean, there's people who it benefits and a lot of people where it's a disadvantage.
But it's a start. Like, it's a starting point.
For example,
if you repeal it, you have nothing. And it'll be decades before anybody can get anything close passed. And meanwhile, Canada has a perfect system.
Yeah, that's what people want. That's what people were expecting.
But that's not going to happen if you repeal the act that's in place now. It's just going to go back to the way it was.
But the people who are ultimately benefiting from Obamacare are insurance companies. No matter how you look at it, there's a middle.
Not
there's a
necessarily, because I'm sure they would rather discriminate against pre-existing conditions and charge as much as they could possibly charge instead of being regulated.
But my point is that Obama has in mind the interest of the insurance companies.
Well, you have to in America, with the way the system is now. But Trump has their interests in mind. The Republicans have their interests in mind wholeheartedly because they just want to make it a free market again, where there's no standards. It's just you guys have at it and see what you come up with.
Which reinforces my view earlier that the Republicans and Democrats don't give a shit about any of us peons.
Probably, I don't know. I don't know if you can say that about every single politician. I'm sure some of them do, some of them don't.
I'm talking about the brain of the bald eagle, the ruling party, the corporatists, the oligarchy.
But what about global warming, right? It's a hoax, according to Trump. So now we're going to we're going to get rid of forcing companies to reduce their emissions or carbon emissions. So that's going to, again, put our planet at risk, increase global warming, melt our polar caps, and I guess shorten the duration of the human civilization, right?
Yeah, like Chomsky said, it's the death knell to the human species.
So that's one of the big things I hate about Trump.
Yeah, apparently they're saying he can easily repeal the Clean Air Act, and that'll likely happen in the first 100 days.
Damn.
There you go, Earth.
That could set back the Earth.
See you later, pale dot.
For quite some time, because now you're putting coal industries, you're putting those companies at the forefront. So you're helping those guys out. You're helping put those jobs back in because those rust belters, they want their jobs. You know, one thing NPR brought up is if you bring back coal, then you're going against natural. Then you're going coal. Then you're going coal. Then you're going.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you had
Hello?
you went into worm. You went into
Hello.
you went in a wormhole.
The Russians are hacking.
You guys are in the wormhole.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the Russian hackers have hacked ASP Stuff Radio. We lost Steven. He was on to a good point. I don't know what he was saying, even when they weren't hacking.
Can you make a recall? So we're talking about rust belters, I think,
And coal mining.
And how Trump is going to bring us back to drilling oil and natural gas.
Yes, he definitely wants to start drilling again. Right?
Okay.
We all know that.
And what's wrong with that?
Well,
So
it's
what?
bad for the environment.
So what? Who cares about the environment? You think middle-class America gives a shit about the planet? They need to put money on their...
Lilocrates might care about the environment.
Well,
Maybe.
Do you think?
Yeah, if there's no clean air to breathe.
Yeah.
Or else we'll have to all get gas masks to survive.
That's what they used to have
But
back in
then
the,
that'll create more jobs because you'll have to manufacture more gas.
Gas
I
max.
guess it's a catch-22. Your life is not your life expectancy would be a lot lower. And that's what they had
Then
back
you don't
with the
need as
industrial.
much funding for Medicare because everyone's dying younger.
Good point. Good point.
So that's a
during
good point.
during the Industrial Revolution, right? They had coal was in power, and people were sucking up soot.
Sucking up soot.
Right?
You're gonna miss that.
I know. Well,
And
the good thing about having Trump as president, at least for ASP Stuff Radios, we'll have a lot of juicy stuff to talk
That's
about.
what I was saying. I'm like, look at the bright side. This is going to be a very entertaining 4 years. It's like W all over again.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna
Comedy
be fun.
shows have so much material.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be like watching a reality show.
Alec Baldwin will have his job back in SNL.
Yeah, that's a really good Trump impression. Wrong.
well, he might as well have his own White House reality show.
Let's see.
But the only point I was making is the natural gas industry and the coal industry are direct competitors to each other, so he can only promise jobs to one Rust Belt group. One will be depressed in the end and will not get their jobs back.
And in order to do that, you have to lie to the public and say stuff like global warming is a hoax invented by the Chinese government.
Maybe. I mean, he still needs those people to support him and for the next get his next second term. He still has to continue to lie.
Yeah, I know, but that's why he says bold things like that to make people believe in him.
And what he has to now start saying is these things take time, and people will believe him. They take time.
Now, I don't know if you noticed, but Trump actually seemed like a completely different person during his acceptance speech. You notice he was very mellow? Here's a clip.
I've just received a call from Secretary Clinton. She congratulated us, it's about us, on our victory. And I congratulated her and her family on a very, very hard-fought campaign. I mean, she fought very hard. Hillary has worked very long and very hard over a long period of time, and we owe her a major debt of gratitude for her service to our country. I mean that very sincerely. Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division, have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. It's time. I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans, and this is so important to me. For those who have chosen not to support me in the past, of which there were a few people, I'm reaching out to you for your guidance and your help so that we can work together and unify our great country.
Doesn't sound like the Trump I know.
Yeah, and I did listen to that, and I don't know. I think Paul Ado, he's maybe he is very calculated. Maybe he does know what he's doing.
I don't know.
I mean,
he
he
was
really
tired.
he turned on a dime there. Notice he could have easily said, and now it's time to lock her up.
Yeah.
And now it's time to get that big wall, start building it. It's gonna be beautiful. We're gonna repeal that Obamacare. Let's start now. Yeah. He could have said that.
Yeah, and he
could have
did.
said that.
He
He could
did.
have said, let's put guns in the hands of our kids in those school zones. We need it.
Ban those Muslims, but he didn't. And notice when he started talking about uniting, even the audience was kind of, okay.
Those rednecks were like,
They were chanting "lock her up" before that.
Yeah.
They've been chanting it for a long time, right?
Well, during the rally, that's what they were chanting.
Here's another clip of that acceptance speech.
At the same time, we will get along with all other nations willing to get along with us. We will be. We'll have great relationships. We expect to have great relationships. No dream is too big, no challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. America will no longer settle for anything less than the best. We must reclaim our country's destiny and dream big and bold and daring. We have to do that. We're going to dream of things for our country and beautiful things and successful things once again. I want to tell the world community that while we will always put America's interests first, we will deal fairly with everyone, all people and all other nations. We will seek common ground, not hostility, partnership, not conflict.
He sounds like he's drugged up, like the Zionists like drugged him up and, all right, you got to change your personality now. Now that we got the votes, now we got to work a new...
Maybe he's the Manchurian candidate. He's being manipulated or somehow...
What's this whole talk of working together with other countries and building relations?
Where did that come from? We didn't vote for that guy. I bet all the people who voted for him are freaking out.
Yeah, run for the hills. We got screwed already.
Yeah, I mean, originally he wanted to put all of our allied relationships at risk because one of the things that, again, I heard on NPR today is we have all these military bases within these allied countries like South Korea, and he's telling them these countries have to pay their fair share. They're not paying their fair share, so that's going to scare away a lot of our allies. But now he's saying, let's come together and sing Kumbaya.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that quote that was from like 98 where he said, and I don't even know if it's been legitimately proved that he actually said this, but it's from People magazine supposedly. He said, if I were to run, I'd run as a Republican. They're the dumbest group of voters in the country. They believe anything on Fox News. I could lie and they'd still eat it up. I bet my numbers would be terrific. So,
hey, he's smart. Smart, calculated man.
Wait. He said that 20 years ago?
Supposedly, yeah, in People magazine.
I've heard that quote before, yeah.
Right.
And it makes sense. It's exactly what happened.
So maybe he fooled everybody.
Yeah, I think so,
He
too.
knew he couldn't win as a Democrat, so he had to run as a Republican, defeat the Democrats, and then do whatever the heck he wanted to do.
And this goes back, reinforcing my point that the Democrats and the Republicans are just two wings of the same bird.
Maybe, but I feel
some
like
policies are a lot different.
Either way, they're serving the interests of the brain inside the bird.
The Neil deGrasse Tyson conspiracy,
I think
simulators.
I think a lot of the oligarchy did not expect this. They part of them really thought that he was a joke candidate.
Now, I texted you both this piece of news provided by my droid 9C on Monday, November 7th, the day before America hit the polls to cast their vote for president. Hillary Clinton's campaign called off its planned election night firework display. They were going to have a 2-minute show over the Hudson River after the results came in on Tuesday. Now, I'm assuming they were planning this out in case they won the election or they believed that they were going to win. So the question is, why would she cancel her victory celebration?
Because she found out she's going to lose.
But how did she know that before the polls were even out?
Maybe a little bird messenger came out and said, the polls are probably not the best thing to listen to.
So she had already planned a victory celebration, fireworks and everything, over the Hudson River. And then suddenly these genius pollster pundits just said that, oh, well, the Electoral College is predicting that you won't receive electoral votes from Ohio, Utah, and one district of Maine, and that those votes will go towards the Republicans. I don't know how that works.
Well, I don't. So what are you concluding? What do you think is the answer?
So I'm thinking that maybe she knew in advance that she was going to get indicted by the FBI. Remember that this email was renewed. This investigation came out several days before the election.
No, they came out the day before on Monday, and they said that nothing's going to happen.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I think she knew in advance that she was going to get indicted, and she didn't want to be indicted as a president.
They can't indict somebody unless the FBI concludes that there's a possibility that there's an issue.
Yeah, if anything, the news on Monday would have made them keep going with the fireworks.
So that doesn't line up with your.
No, I'm just saying that she was going to become president, but they had already known that she was going to get indicted, and that wasn't going to look good.
What wouldn't have been the FBI? It would have been something else that would have been uncovered. But the FBI, Comey, man, that guy, I don't know.
I don't know. I just think it's odd that she would know this information. How would she know that she was not going to win the election before the Americans actually went to go vote?
Well, I do know that the polls were heavily flawed because they didn't account for these secret closet Trump voters. Closet Trump voters, right? And they were lying that they were going to not vote for him.
Or maybe they just realize it's going to take a long time to count the votes, and it's going to be very late before the results are in.
Yeah. Maybe
it was that. You don't know.
Yeah, they just were delaying it. I don't know. Maybe
the day before the election,
because there's laws against when you can fire off fireworks, so you probably can't do it that late. So they probably had to nix it due to that.
But why
Unless there's a deep conspiracy like Zach is suggesting.
But the other thing is, why would you even plan out a victory fireworks show?
Well, if you don't, then you're not going to have anything planned. It's like winning the World Series.
Yeah, you have printouts. You have
to have something planned.
You have shirts and caps already.
Sure, the Cleveland Indians were planning something, but they had to scratch it.
What's interesting to note is that the cancellation of the fireworks came out 3 days after FBI Director James Comey told Congress that they were going to renew that email investigation. And the irony is that the same day that the director announced the investigation was the day that the Fire Department of New York received a memo ordering its Marine One company to provide protection for Clinton's fireworks show. And the memo said that Mrs. Clinton's campaign, quote, "It's a little presumptuous of her to plan on winning. I guess she put in for this before Friday, the day the FBI renewed their investigation."
I thought they renewed it. Well, they announced at least. That guy said they were going to do that. That was on Halloween Day. That was the Monday before.
Yeah, so 3 days after that, I guess, word came out that they were talking about canceling the fireworks. And then they officially did it the day before the election day.
I mean,
I don't know. This is weird stuff going on.
I think there are conspiracies really at a high level. Like I honestly think that Hillary really thought she was going to win, or maybe I really think that Paul Ryan really hates Trump. I think that Obama really hates Trump. I don't think these guys actually get along, and I don't think they're acting at all. Just like with baseball, I think these guys are really playing the game as hard as they can. Now, at a high level, maybe they're thinking, well, we could go either way. We could go with the Trump, or we could make it Clinton. It doesn't really matter. Or just keep these peons thinking that their vote really matters.
And that gets us back to the Electoral College, and
look at that
needs to change.
Look at that Wikipedia definition. What is this? We don't vote for actual president. An electoral body. What is this body?
See, what they should do is have, and the couple states that do it, they give out a percent. They don't give out all of their electoral votes just because one candidate gets a majority in that state. They divide it up. Like Maine has 4, I think.
Yeah, you sound like
Clinton got 2 or 3, and Trump got the rest. But he didn't, or she didn't get all of them.
So you think that instead of designating all electors to one's party, it should be split a certain
amount? It should be based on a percentage of if you're not going to use the popular vote, and use this electoral college, then divvy up the electoral votes based on a percentage of how many popular votes you win. Like in California, you have 55, Hillary Clinton won 60% of the vote, so you give her about 40 of those votes. Trump gets 15.
Yeah.
Prorate it.
Would be more
That's
fair.
a good idea. That's.
I don't know why that would be such a difficult thing to implement. It seems very fair.
It's traditional.
That way, these small rural states and these you're not all. It's that way. It's not always Michigan, Florida determining the election. Like we might as well just have the election in those two states. Everybody else stay home.
Well, that's why they have the Electoral College, because they want to prevent an overrule majority based on those two big states. If they have the Electoral College, then you have a more wide distribution of representation of all the people.
No, I really do agree with that, because then I think, Aledo, you're worried that certain parts of the country will get more representation of the vote.
Yeah,
it's already set up that way.
Yeah, it is. It is.
California 55, Texas has like 45 or whatever. So it's already based on population.
So if you
prorate divide it up based on how many votes you actually get.
Within the state.
All right, maybe. I don't know.
Actually, I think Hillary would have won because it would have been more representative of what the people want.
I don't know. I think if you were to go strictly based on popular vote, then the candidates would just go towards only select few states, which would kind of defeat the whole purpose of democracy. You wouldn't be able to hear what other people have to say or care to say.
But here's another thing: is there are a lot of people who stayed at home and didn't vote because they knew California was going to be blue.
Yeah, and those states that Trump did win, the swing states, he barely won. Yet he gets 20 electoral votes in Pennsylvania, and he barely got any more votes than Hillary. And so it should be split like 10-10. All right, let's game on. Let's see who can. Who gets more support.
Yeah, who knows what the results would be. And
then another point is a lot of people who are in those Midwest or Rust Belt states who are, like minorities, they feel compelled to move to other states like California or New York, where it's more accepting of their types of people. And so those states lose that diversity and end up being purely one type of culture. So that's the other reason it hurts. The system hurts the people.
I agree. No, one of my coworkers brought that point right before I left work. I didn't realize that Maine, there are a couple states, right? Maine and maybe another little small one.
So there's a lot that this election makes you mull over, and it's like, things need to change, and people need to stop saying that Americans' voices were heard, because I don't feel like they really were. And I hope foreign countries realize that they don't see this as, the whole country wanted this Trump guy to be their president.
This dirtbag.
Let's commit a terrorist attack now because these stupid Americans. They realize, no, most Americans did not want this guy as their president.
Well, that's why people are protesting out in the streets to make that point.
Yeah, but it's in all the cities that didn't want Trump.
But the world will kind of see it that way. I mean, I don't think there's a way around it.
Yeah, ISIS is already planning their attack. It's like George W. all over again. Look out in 2018.
But that's why I think...
And that's part of the plan.
That's part of the plan.
I think that's part of the plan.
I think that's why they wanted Trump.
Defense contractor stocks skyrocketed, right?
Let's see what Donald Trump plans on doing on his first day.
Okay.
Repealing Obamacare is just one of many things Donald Trump has promised to do on his first day in office. Here are a few more.
On the first day of my term.
On day one.
On my first day, we're going to immediately terminate every single unconstitutional executive order signed by President Obama. We will begin working on an impenetrable, physical, tall, powerful, beautiful southern border wall. Then I'm going to order a review of every single regulation issued over the last 8 years. All needless, job-killing regulations will be canceled.
On day one, I'm going to begin swiftly removing criminal, illegal immigrants from this country.
I will get rid of gun-free zones on schools And you have to. And on military bases, my first day, it gets signed, okay? My first day. So it's going to be a very busy first day.
Woohoo! Can't wait. Can't wait for all that, especially the gun-free zones. That's exciting.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And the schools, right? Didn't he say schools?
Gun-free zones on schools.
Yeah. I mean, Texas already has that at its university there. Executive orders will be undone, I guess.
I wasn't sure about that. The unconstitutional executive order? What's that?
It's very vague. You know, a lot of the things he said was vague. Job killing regulation.
Yeah, it's it just sounds cool to say that and get the collective mob mentality going. Yeah, let's get rid of those job killing regulations, whatever that is.
It's very vague. I think job killing regulations is like, isn't that forcing corporations to hire only American workers? That's job regulation.
Or Environmental Protection Agency, the rules, greenhouse gas emissions.
Yeah, that's
Clean Water Act,
that's
global warming.
The environmental ones are the scary ones to me.
That's probably what he meant.
Because you could really turn a trend that will impact the planet for years to come. I mean, it's just like we could advance as a civilization, or we could decline or devolve as a civilization. So it will put you years, millennia back, because we're headed in a sort of slow path of evolving our technology. But what he's going to be doing is, let's bring back the mine workers. Let's go back to the Industrial Revolution.
Back in the time when sucking in soot was great.
Sucking in soot.
There we go. There he is. There. That's what we want to hear.
Let's pollute the world like we used to.
And I remember that clip that you played there when Obama was talking about it. It used to be like that. It used to be that bad in L.A. You used to not be able to walk outside.
Yeah, you go out and couldn't run. You would pass out.
And that's the risk you take.
In
he does a lot.
No more of that.
No.
But we'll have a lot more jokes to come.
That's the only benefit, is ASP Stuff Radio having a lot of material.
Is that?
So is there any positive things that we could say about Donald Trump?
We just said
besides that? Besides
that. Here's the thing. He's blowing up. So this is what I also wanted to make the point. He's blowing up the conservative or establishment, right?
Wrong.
The establishment is now...
I forgot about the game. If you say right, we say wrong. If you say so, I say so what? If you say we say no, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, if you remember, the Republican Party was in shambles, I think, right after...
wrong.
Right after Obama had won, right?
Wrong.
Wrong. Trump is just going to argue against every point I make.
Oh, wait.
And now the Democratic Party is in shambles.
Yeah, overnight they went from being the favorites to, man, they need to go back to the drawing board and figure this out.
But that's where the Republican Party was at, and until they found their standard bearer, the orange chicken.
Their orange bear.
Their orange bird.
Orange bear. Not orange chicken, the orange bear.
Orange bear.
I think the problem runs deeper. I think we need to introduce political opposition, not just from the Republicans and Democrats. We need to welcome other parties, give them equal opportunity to voice.
All right, Chomsky.
I'm just...
It's not going to happen.
Because if you keep this black and white mentality and you never allow for a synthesis to emerge and evolve and have open dialogue.
That's what keeps the oligarchy in power.
I agree. But that's why we need, instead of protesting on the streets and using bats and chains to make a point, I think you need to work on the fundamental level.
Yep.
And
you really need to reform the election process.
Yeah.
Like, people shouldn't be protesting Trump. They shouldn't be calling for him to be impeached. He didn't do anything wrong. He won based on the system that's in place.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, you need to protest that, not Trump.
The system is flawed, and that's what we need to work on. Get Jill Stein and Gary Johnson and other third parties to debate equally. Get those parties out on the platform and not just focus on two diametrically opposing parties.
Of course. How do we do that?
We've already. Here's the thing.
I
You're
said
arguing about the wrong point.
I said so.
So what?
So what?
Oh, you get points for calling out yourself. So what?
This is all by design, right?
Wrong.
Go back to the
Wrong.
Go back to the oligarchy and the conspiracy theory. This is all by design. It's all into making you think that you have a choice, right?
Wrong.
Yeah. So
what?
So what?
Oh, I was gonna say so.
It's
hard. How do you transition without saying so? So.
And look.
Okay, and look.
How about look?
What?
How about look? And look.
What?
I am looking.
And our civilization, our technology can be a lot more advanced had we not have. Why don't we have a flying car right now? Right?
Wrong.
It's because we have fuel cars, billions of fuel cars out there, keeping this gas economy in business. Right?
Wrong.
And we even have the technology is out there in the black market and classified programs. It's all out there. We have the ability to fly.
Shouldn't we buy hybrids then?
Yeah. Why don't you buy Tesla's electric car then?
I'm working on it.
Protest. Stop talking all your talk and just buy that goddamn electric car.
Well,
who are you to say?
Well,
it?
you have no. So
tell me what
Tomato's got a hybrid.
Correct. And what do you drive?
Oh, so he's doing it.
You're the one that's
cool gas guzzler.
You're spieling about why don't we have a drive car, electric car flying in the air? Well, why don't you?
You're right. I'll go with you, Beppo. I'll go with that.
All right, and I'll go buy one tomorrow.
What do we do about the third party, trying to get third parties more voices?
That's the problem. We need to get another party, at least one.
Who's third we?
Ross Perot. We need Ross Perot back.
Remember back in the day when we used to do our own little show on tape and we would mock Ross Perot, Al Gore, Bill Clinton?
Ordinary becomes easier to target bombers. With these jobs, they'll be working all the time. They want more money. They can easily spot them. They can be an American job in Mexico. It'll be easier, and then we can just easily bomb them and then attack. Okay, we're running out of time, you guys. We're running out of time. Running out of time. Never run out of time.
People actually like Ross Perot.
He was the strongest third-party candidate
ever. You could have Barry Sanders run. I think Barry would make.
He's too old. He's like 85.
He's gonna die.
Well, we're gonna have the technology to keep him alive.
Not with Trump.
Maybe
revert back to the coal mining age.
All right.
We'll have a little coal fire power his heart. It'll work. There'll be soot going on.
Extract
I
all
don't know.
that soot.
I think we have to start a grassroots movement. ASP Stuff Radio.
We should
lobby to Congress and everybody, local governments, and tell them.
That was a 99%.
Give Gary Johnson, or not Gary Johnson, Jill Stein a chance.
Yeah, I think we should do that. We should start off. I think each of us should write a letter to Congress and make that proposal. And then we should create our own YouTube channel and get the word out. Start a movement. Get votes or likes, subscribers, and create a petition, send it to Congress, and demand a third option.
Almost got somewhere. What is it? The 99% movement.
Well,
that got a little bit.
We can start it up. We could coalesce with that movement.
And get the electoral college system changed.
Isn't that part of the Constitution? They wrote that in the Constitution, the electoral vote. We can't automatically amend the Constitution, can we?
Well, you'd have to get a bill passed, and that would probably have to go to the Supreme Court. I mean, it is possible.
Okay, so you can do it. It's just gonna.
You can't. It's just it would take 100 years.
Well, I won't be around.
I also think that if your movement gets It's too much momentum. I think there's going to be something. If you've seen the Da Vinci Code, people are going to try to stop things from getting out or from changing, right?
Wrong.
There's a resistance to change.
Yeah, someone's gonna get shot and killed in the process.
Uh-oh. Got to be careful then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should do it. And I hire M.B.Bot to help us start this revolution.
M.B.Bot?
Yeah.
Who's M.B.Bot?
My
the
bot.
unidentified speaker.
She could help us start the movement with her SBUX droid assistance.
Speaking of S-Bucks, did you see the new holiday cups this year?
No, I saw the commercial.
Green? I've seen a green cup.
Well, that green cup was just a political state or a social statement. That was about everybody coming together during election week.
Oh.
So I don't know why it was green, but
I should have kept that.
yeah, you should have kept. I wanted to get one. We didn't get one.
You bought a green,
but everybody thought it was the holiday cup. So all the
oh man, I didn't know that. I should have kept that green cup.
Wait, so people were
gone now.
People were upset because it was green, solid green.
Yeah.
Oh.
That it wasn't holiday, like red cup with jingle bells on it.
I don't know.
People got upset thinking that was the holiday cup, but that was really just like a special election week cup.
Oh, and you threw it away, Stephen. Socrates.
Yeah, into the ocean, knowing that Trump would not be regulating it.
And now the regular ones came out today, and I think it's pretty obvious they're trying to make a statement against last year where everybody was upset over the plain red cup.
Uh-huh.
Because there's different styles, but they're covered in holiday pictures like Santa Claus and lights, deer.
So they overdid it?
They overdid it.
Good.
Well, don't call it a holiday cup. It's a Christmas cup.
What does Starbucks call it? A holiday cup?
No, we got Trump is in power. It's a Christmas cup. We're allowed to do that.
Oh, that's
now.
right. He's going to bring that back. Christmas instead of Happy Holidays. Merry Christmas.
We don't need to be aware of all other holidays. It's just
forget other religions.
The reason it was a plain red cup last year was because they were saying, well, everybody likes to draw on their Starbucks cup, so we're going to give you a plain blank red canvas, and you can draw whatever holiday designs you want on there. And so these cups, there's 10 different designs that were drawn by customers and submitted to Starbucks.
Okay.
So that's why some of them are similar. They all have like reindeer, snowflakes, holiday lights, things like that on them, but they were not Starbucks designs. They were customer designs, basically saying, kind of rubbing it in the faces of the people who criticized last year, saying, see, we told you you're supposed to design the cup, so this is what you came up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's good. You can actually trace along the deer, and then it kind of feels like you drew it.
Do they look like doodles? I haven't seen the cup or the designs.
No, they look professional.
Oh, okay. Did anyone draw Donald Trump's toupee with reindeer antlers?
No, I didn't see any of those on there.
Oh.
Didn't happen.
Sadly.
And that orangish hair hue will slowly start to turn gray. It's like
Think it changes with the season?
Yeah, he's gonna.
Well, it should, but Obama, because of all the stress, he turned all gray.
Yeah, he aged pretty quickly.
Maybe it'll turn red.
A beat.
I'll have to see. I might still have some connections if there's any of the green cups left. I might be
get
able to get a couple.
us one of those souvenir cups. We'll keep it for.
See if there's any leftovers somewhere.
As a memory
Seems
of
like
this.
it might be worth money one day.
Yeah, it's a historic relic of this election.
It's still in its package or its wrapper, preserved.
Preserved.
Yeah.
No coffee stains.
Yeah. No coffee poured out of it.
So are we all stuffed up?
Definitely trumped up.
Trumped up. Any other?
Talk about anything else?
No, just full on
orange.
Orange chicken ranch.
Orange revolution.
I feel like there's just so much more, but there's just nothing we can do at this point.
We could go to our civic center and start walking around and protesting, because that might do something.
Nah, no. That's not going to do anything.
Like to write strongly worded letters.
Yeah, I think we should all write a letter, send it
Hopefully,
to Congress.
Can we send it to Trump?
Send it to Trump or whoever's in charge of.
But somebody's got to read it for him.
It goes to Trump, is going to go straight into his gold-plated shredder.
Well, we just have to send it every month then, every week, every month.
Could write your congressman. I don't know if.
That's the only way you're going to bring about change. Not bats and fire and throwing bricks through windows. That's not going to do anything. This is going to show how stupid and ignorant we are of how the system works.
And plead to your local government for some local changes. Like if Trump and the federal government's not going to pass laws like gun control, then push your local government to pass some type of restrictions.
Or
like,
better,
there are a lot of good propositions for the state that we live in. Mm-hmm. And there was a measure about more stronger background checks on gun purchases, and that passed. So there were some good things locally.
Things that oppose probably Trump. So.
Yeah, I think that you got to start from the bottom up. Vote for the right electors. That's the other thing. How do you vote for the electors who are doing the electing? The people who are going to elect the president.
How about you just run for mayor?
Want me to run for mayor?
Yeah.
With the philosopher party.
The philosopher kings, as Plato would say. They should run the country.
Yeah, start up the philosophers party.
I'll get like 0.001%.
Your class might vote for you. Your class might vote for
100 students.
You might win at the university that you're at.
All their friends.
Philosopher friends.
Yeah, that would get philosophers some work.
We should do it. We should start our own party.
The ASP.
The ASP coalition.
Coal? What about coal?
Coal.
Or
what we should do what Trump did, is cater to a particular demographic, make these bold claims and lies.
Sign $1 billion and then we're good.
Be loud, get a small $2 million loan from your father.
Paint Steve Socrates' face with an orange hue, have him wear a fuzzy looking
rub
toupee.
Cheetos all over my face.
And get the votes. And
start making fun of disabled people.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
My class was taking a 3-minute quiz. I was looking at the phone, and all I saw, I opened the text, and all I saw was Donald Trump doing the, I don't remember what he said. I don't remember what he said. And I started laughing out loud.
As soon as I found out realized he was going to be president, that's the only thing I could think of.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
This clown is going to be our president, and that's what I keep thinking of him, making fun of and doing that. I don't know.
Well, America has spoken. The Lord has answered our prayers. In the name of the Father, into the Son, and out into the infinite vast universe.
The pale blue dot, as Carl Sagan would say with his silky smooth voice.
100 years from now, this won't matter.
Oh, I think it might matter. I think it may matter.
I do have a possible positive note for you. Okay. And that is, if all the Christians are right, if they're right, then God wanted Trump to be president, and now America actually will be blessed. So we should have a better economy. We should have less unemployment. The climate will probably fix itself, and everybody will live in peace, and all the nations around the world will not bother us anymore because we're now going to be blessed because we elected Trump. So we could hold out hope that is actually true.
You know, hey,
let's have faith that the Christians are right.
That's quite a possibility.
And then Alocrates will know that God is real. So this is it. This is the test.
He'll be a believer.
So 4 years down the line, or 8 years?
4 to 8.
4 to 8. It's a long time to be leaping out into the unknown, holding on to my breath for 8 years.
Or World War III could start.
And then I'll know.
One or the other.
But we could always say
you'll know either way.
But
you will know either way.
Even if it is World War III, I would just reiterate and say, well, God intended for this to happen for good reasons, and we'll see how things pan out. Maybe he wanted to prevent a greater evil.
Yeah, maybe it's a population control plan.
oligarchy needs to lower the population.
Which is interesting because Inferno came out a couple weeks ago, and that's all
Yeah.
about population control. So maybe there's a connection between.
Maybe.
Yeah,
well,
but
the book
Inferno
came out
kind of-
like 4 years ago.
Inferno really did flop. So
But no, the book came out 4 years ago, and they were probably planning it out in accordance to the book. And then they were developing the movie so that it came out right near
Yeah,
the
you have
election.
to give Ron Howard some time to put the movie together.
Oh, he was going to do The Lost Symbol, but he decided to work on Inferno instead.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, that's because the Lost Symbol sucked, according to readers of it.
That's interesting. The population control.
We will see.
Yeah.
4 to 8 years.
I'm going to hold my breath.
I mean, this is going to be, to me, this is going to be the greatest social experiment of all time. See what happens when you stick someone in the presidency who has no experience, no qualifications, is the biggest bigot, racist, sexist, possible alleged rapist, and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The God answered our prayers.
that's
Yeah.
a good, very good point.
Mhm.
Very good point.
On that happy note,
We're all
stuffed up with
Orange chicken.
hope,
all trumped up.
all trumped up.
Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. We have to get together.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans, and this is so important to me.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember. I don't know what I said. I don't remember. I don't know what I said. I don't know what I said. I don't remember. I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
I'm reaching out to you for your guidance and your help so that we can work together and unify our great country.
I don't remember.
Let's just cut to the chase. Assuming, and that's what we're talking about, that he does win. People I'm speaking to think it's absolutely catastrophic.